Delaware Senator Chris Coons, who's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Coons also attended the presidential debate last week in Ohio. Thanks so much, Senator, for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's great to be on with you.
I have to ask you about the president leaving the hospital and that image that we've been showing our viewers of the maskless president outside of the White House. What was your first reaction in seeing that?
My first reaction is the president doesn't get it. I am glad if he and the First Lady are on the road to recovery. But frankly, his tweet, I think it was last night, that he's gone to school on this pandemic and he now understands COVID-19 and that folks should not worry about it, is completely dispelled by his ignoring CDC and other public health official advice to wear a mask, to socially distance, to wash your hands, to avoid needlessly infecting others. I am concerned, frankly, that Lindsey Graham is barreling ahead with confirmation hearings in the Senate next week for Judge Barrett, which would require all of us to return for a hearing and a vote without a clear plan in place. I think he's doing this in no small part because of the bad example that President Trump is setting of disregarding public health advice.
Is it your opinion that the president should have stayed at Walter Reed, considering that it's still believed, as we just heard Dr. Ellerin say, that he's contagious?
Well, he was either contagious at the debate in Cleveland, where I was in the second row of the audience, and Vice President Biden, former Vice President Biden, was just a few feet away from him while he raised his voice for 90 minutes, or he's contagious now. Either way, it's been reckless and irresponsible. I do think he should stay where he can best be cared for. He is getting world-class care. He's getting experimental drugs, a therapeutic cocktail, and some very strong steroids that are making him feel better and may allow him to recover quickly. But I'll remind you, this is the same president who's in the middle of supporting a case to take away health care protections from more than 100 million Americans.
And you are, of course, as you just mentioned, a surrogate for Joe Biden, one of his earliest supporters on the trail. Have you talked with the former vice president since the debate last week? And how concerned are you that the president might have exposed potentially Biden to COVID, even though I believe it's 2 tests at this point that Biden has taken and both have come back negative?
I am relieved that both Joe and Jill Biden have tested negative. I also was tested afterwards, as were several of the members of the House and other supporters of the vice president who traveled with us. But frankly, it's just another reminder of the stark differences between how Joe Biden has conducted himself and his campaign and how Donald Trump has. President Trump has packed thousands of his supporters into rallies in city after city without masks, without social distancing. Frankly, even in that Rose Garden ceremony in which Judge Barrett was nominated for the Supreme Court, there was row after row of folks packed closely together where apparently many of them either didn't wear a mask, didn't take a test beforehand, or both. In contrast, former Vice President Biden has conducted himself responsibly. He hasn't put either the general public or the folks who provide him with security and support at risk. That shows a real difference in terms of their compassion for others and how they would lead us out of this pandemic. That's why I'm supporting Joe Biden.
Have you been satisfied with the medical answers that we've been hearing from the president's doctors on his condition and his treatment?
Well, it was striking how quickly the press was able to expose the president's physician for having made willful misstatements about whether the president was or wasn't on oxygen. I don't think they've been fully transparent, and I really question whether returning to the White House is the best course of treatment, given the remarkable resources they have at Walter Reed. But frankly, you know, at the end of the day, what matters is the treatment and care 7 million infected Americans have been able to get. 205,000 of them have died so far. That is an incredible number of families that have had to grieve the loss of a loved one, people who often died alone, in pain, isolated, and without the best state-of-the-art medical care.
Turning to the Senate now, Mitch McConnell announced the Senate will not convene until October 19th after 3 Republican senators tested positive for COVID-19. Half of the chamber is 65 or older. Does there need to be mandated testing before anyone can safely return?
Yes, the U.S. Senate is the definition of a super spreader event. You've got 100 people, as you say, many of them senior citizens. I suspect virtually all of us with pre-existing conditions, flying or traveling by train or car from all over the United States, gathering in a small chamber where we're often there for long periods of time, voting, speaking. Frankly, we should not be returning to the Senate. We should not be having confirmation hearings for Judge Barrett until every senator and our staff have access to rapid testing and to high-quality PPE and to state-of-the-art care. I frankly think we should be delaying the confirmation hearings and vote on Judge Barrett as a result.
So you just pretty much touched on this, but, as you know, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Senator Lindsey Graham, announced today that he plans to move forward with the Supreme Court confirmation process 1 week from today. That's despite 2 committee members testing positive for coronavirus. Political fight aside, do you think it's at all possible that these hearings could be held safely or perhaps with remote participation, as so many hearings have been held in recent months?
Well, the only way to do this really safely and to have those members participate is to do a confirmation hearing for a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court by Zoom or by remote means. I'll remind you, Chairman Graham has already accelerated the process beyond any modern precedent in terms of how quickly this is being done and how close to an election that's already underway. Millions of Americans have already voted in more than half the states. There's no precedent for a confirmation hearing this close to an election that's underway. And I frankly struggle to see how we can have the sort of full and fair hearing that we ought to be having before Judge Barrett is voted on for a lifetime position to the Supreme Court.
And, Senator, before you go, just want to get a sense, can you and your Democratic colleagues do anything at all at this point to stop this process from going forward?
Appealing to the American public, appealing to the conscience of our Republican colleagues was all we had available to us before the rules of the committee allow the chairman to proceed without a quorum. So frankly, at this point, reminding Americans what's on the line, why President Trump nominated this judge who's committed to overturning the Affordable Care Act. There is a hearing a week after the election where he wants her seated to be the deciding vote in overturning the constitutionality of a law that protects a majority of Americans who have pre-existing conditions. So I think the only tool we've got at our disposal is persuasion, reminding Americans what's at stake in a pandemic.
The power of persuasion. Senator Coons, our thanks to you for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.